Jigglebones, and how to set them up. First thing first, I will import player model and rig with Source Tools plugin. It's important to change Up Axis option to Y when importing the model. Next, I will select Player Armature and go to Edit mode. I'll pick a place around hinge with 3D cursor and then add a single bone to it. Then again, using 3D cursor, I will target the wire and add another bone to it. Then I will rename those two new bones to hinge and wire respectively. Next, I will locate bip head bone. Make sure to not confuse it with PRP helmet bone. To parent new hinge bone, I will double-click on it, then double-click on bip head while holding Shift. Go to Armature, Parent, Make, Keep Offset. Same process for connecting wire bone. Next, I will select my hat, go to Vertex Groups and create 3 new groups: bip head, wire, and hinge, representing the bones our item is going to use. In Edit mode, I will select single face that belongs to the wire, then select the rest of the wire by using Select Linked Limited by Normal. Then, I will assign that selection to Wire Vertex Group. Same process for hinge part, assigning it to Hinge Vertex Group. After it, I will use Select All and remove hinge and wire from selection by deselecting them via Vertex Group menu. Result will be assigned to bip head Vertex Group. Add Armature modifier and select Player Armature as Armature object. I will select Armature and go to Pose mode to preview how things move. It's important to use normal mode for transform orientations. It's not perfect, but we can see that our weights work. Now let's fine-tune it. The hinge part looks a little bit off axis. With Snap to Vertex enabled, I will adjust position of hinge bone in Edit mode. Same for the wire part. In Source Engine, Jigglebones can rotate along 2 axes, pitch and yaw. In Blender, pitch axis is indicated by red color and yaw axis indicated by green color. By rotating your bones via those axes inside Blender, you can get the idea of how your bones will act in-game. Now let's touch up the wire. It's far from perfect. First, in Pose mode, I will push out wire bone a little. Then, I will use weight painting to properly connect the wire to the rest of the model. To enter weight painting mode, in object mode, you first select your armature, then shift-click your item. Then you can change from object mode to weight paint mode. I'm using industry standard key maps, so by control-clicking on bones, I can switch between them. It's important to enable Auto Normalize option. I will select bip head bone and carefully paint weights with draw brush onto the end of the wire, so it stays in place. You have to be precise to not paint over something else. Then, by using combination of blur and average brushes, I will make it so transition is smooth. You can switch between bones by control-clicking them. Next, I will select hinge bone and paint weights for the other end of the wire with draw brush, carefully to not paint over something I don't want to be affected. Getting smooth transition by using combination of blur and average brushes. Let's preview it in Pose mode again. Much better. If you moved some bone in pose mode, to revert its position, you need to go Pose, Clear Transforms, All, while having that bone selected all in pose mode. I'm not at all happy with how wire rotates by previewing its movements via red and green axes rotations. Let's alter it in edit mode. Still not what I want. We need to change red axis position. To do that, we go to Item submenu and change Roll Setting. This is what I had in mind. Perfect. Some more adjustments. Now we just export our item. I'm doing it with help of Source Tools plugin. I already have everything prepared, and since this video is Jigglebones specific, I'm not going to cover exporting process in detail. In fact, I already created item submission and plugged in all the models and materials. Let's preview our item. No Jigglebones in sight. That's because we didn't paste Jigglebone code yet. Let's do it by pressing Edit QC, navigating to the bottom of QC, and pasting our Jigglebone code. Press OK and recompile. And there it is. But wait a second, where did this Jigglebone code came from? What a useless tutorial. Yeah, this is where it gets complicated. I would need another hour to cover actual code writing process, but there are places to learn. First, you want to visit Valve Developer Wiki and read about Jigglebones there. It explains every line and every type of Jigglebone there is. Very straightforward. Another way to go would be decompiling existing items that use Jigglebones, taking existing code, and modifying it to your needs. To do that, you will need two programs, GCFscape and Crowbar. I will leave links in description. I'll show you an example. You launch GCFscape, navigate to your Team Fortress 2 folder, and open tf2_misc_dir.vpk. From there you go to Models, Workshop Player, Items, and navigate to the item that uses Jigglebones you would like to study. I'll choose Starlight Sorcerer, one of the items I've made. Let's extract it to some temporary folder. Now in Crowbar, select Decompile and navigate to that folder. Select any .mdl file and decompile it. Press Go to in bottom right corner to open folder containing decompiled files. Open up QC file with any text editor like Notepad. Navigate to the bottom to see Jigglebones section. This is the code. Find items that have Jigglebones you would want to use, decompile them and use their code as example for yours. That's my best advice. Good luck.